But when you meet someone, the sex is good, you feel good about because it's so new.
Oh no, that's not about me. I apologize, but no. My biggest thing was my children.
But you don't have children if you didn't have all of that stuff before. You wouldn't just have. I said you wouldn't have children if you weren't in that euphoric stage, the stage where things are good and she's so pretty and sex is regular, and that's how you get children with people that you don't know, is all that I'm saying. And had you been more precautious, I'll say, about who you conceive with, your life wouldn't be so difficult.
And as you see, I'm wearing the No Parole for Tate t-shirt, so you might get a little bit of insight on where this parole hearing is going. And that certainly was an interesting take from the parole board member. I mean, this man has children with 3 different women, and 2 of those women have restraining orders against him, of which he's violated. So I don't know. The math might be telling me that he's probably the problem. That's why he's probably sitting in prison, and he needed all the help he can get at this hearing, and he did not give it to himself. As a matter of fact, he was the final hearing on the docket, but not by design. The thing is, the prison couldn't find him. They couldn't get a hold of him, so they kept skipping him over. And then they were about to call it a close for the day, but the parole board waited around, and then finally he shows up. And the reason for being late is one that I did not expect. Now with that, let's jump in.
Good afternoon, Mr. Williams.
Good afternoon. How are you today?
Good to have you with us.
Yes, I do apologize.
My understanding was that you were not interested in today's hearing.
Oh no, that's not what was said. I did not know a time that the hearing was taking place, and I was in the middle of Sweat Lodge. I just was told that there was going to be a hearing today, so I went to Sweat Lodge. In the middle of Sweat Lodge, they called the tower and it told the tower that I need to come in, but they never actually sent a CO to bring me in. So that's where I've been the whole time until a CO came out there and got me.
Right. So you do want to go forward with today's hearing?
Yeah. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. Well, I'm just checking because there was a lot of communication around your not being available. Okay. Yeah. So we're going to start the hearing as soon as Officer Smelly is ready.
Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Parole Officer Smelly. Today's Friday, March 21, 2025, and this is the hearing of the Connecticut Board of Pardons and Parole. Following board members are present this afternoon and by stating their names on the record, certifying they have reviewed all statutorily required documents, information in preparation of this hearing.
Nancy Turner, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Panel Member Berry.
Good afternoon, Panel Member Rodriguez.
Please state your name and inmate number for the record, sir.
My name is Raymond Williams, 334451.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Raymond Williams, 334451. He is serving a sentence of 8 years, execution suspended after 3 years jail, followed by 4 years probation for 2 counts of violation of standard criminal protective order and burglary first. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of May 20th, 2025 at 85%. There is no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan for the offender. It has been reviewed and shows the offender has completed domestic violence and he remains on the wait list for a job, voices, and vocational needs. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender overall score falls within the high range of risk for recidivism. Mr. Williams, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin, sir.
I don't know. Basically, I have 8 months left at this time. I'm waiting to hear for eligibility for a halfway house as well. As for my release, being in this situation, it's just I sit back and I see like a lot of things that I could have done different. But at the same time, I mean, I've done a percentage of my time. Have I attempted to use my time wisely? Yes, I have. With the fact that there's a lot of other things that are happening in here, so you're on a waiting list for basically everything. When I came here, I was left with a year of my time left. So, I mean, as for my release, I mean, I could sit here and say I want to be released so I can go home and be with my kids and all that stuff. But at the same time, I mean, that doesn't really make a difference because I was given the time that I was given, and I don't really look forward to anything except for the date that I get released. The opportunity of sitting in front of you and trying to convince you why I should be released is hard for me because no matter what an individual says here, most of the time the decision's already made. I would like to be released so I can start the next stage of my rehabilitation, as you say, give me the opportunity to prove myself before I actually get out the door. And then, you know, I had never had the opportunity to prove myself ahead of time. So you can see and people can see that what's behind me is behind me and what's ahead of me is what I'm looking for. Basically, I don't know what else to say in the situation. I mean, what was done, basically, I mean, I'm a piece of paper when it comes to the court system. I'm a piece of paper when it comes to you guys. So basically, nobody really knows me as in the grounds of saying that I know the person and what happened is the cause of this or whatever. But in the end, I mean, the thing that matters to me is my kids, and 8 months I'll be there anyway. So, I mean, I don't know what to say when I'm sitting across from you.
Okay. Well, Mr. Williams, I can appreciate that it's a challenging position to be in. We do our homework. We are required in our jobs to read statutorily designated documents to prepare for the hearing. We give it consideration, but we mostly want to hear from you or who's ever in the chair about their own efforts to understand themselves and to engage in rehabilitation. So I would not agree with your statement that it's already decided. You know, we're responsible as, you know, a panel of three to one another to come to the hearing prepared and with some leaning towards a decision, because otherwise, you know, each individual hearing could take 4 or 5 hours. So we do our homework, but there's more we know to people than what's on paper, more than what your worst moment was in life. And I think we do a good job at giving people a fair shake. There have been probably at least, you know, one person a hearing that I think, wow, you know, I'm really impressed and I didn't see that coming. So, you know, we're not all said and done before the hearing starts. We do come into it with an open mind. So with that said, we're going to begin the questions today with my colleague, panel member Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I think the chair, you know, really laid out the foundation of how the meeting works. And so this is really your opportunity to kind of be able to tell us what are the things that you've gained from your incarceration this time that really makes you a suitable person to be released. And she's right. We've read a lot of information on you already. Some, you know, where we have some concerns. But even with that, we want to be able to hear from you. What is it that makes you the person that we should say, yeah, it'd be good for him to go out, he'll benefit from this particular service or that particular service. So why don't you, kind of begin to share with us, what is it that you've done? I mean, what you've taken TV programming, right?
Yes.
But why don't you tell us, what have you learned from that that's going to make you a different person? Because you've got a prior history of violating protective orders, of issues of threatening, right? And those are the things that concern us, right? I mean, you would see concern with if you knew somebody was doing that, correct?
Yes.
All right, so why don't you tell us why should we consider you today based on the programming that you've taken, which I can only see right now is DV programming. I don't think you've taken voices yet, correct? On the notes for that. Yeah. Because the other thing was when you started out, I mean, you did talk a lot about, what you wanted, but you never mentioned any of the people who were involved as part of the victims in this situation. So go back and tell me what you learned from DV, and then move forward from there.
As for to help you with the victim situation, the courts, when the situation took place, it was told to the courts by the victim that she wanted nothing to do with this. She did not agree with what occurred and took place at the time. As you can see, she's not here. She's not trying to be here on any of it. As for me, since I've been here, I was in Walker, basically most of my bid, which was up to September, then October, then I ended up here. Soon as I came to be placed in this facility, I wrote to be on every program that I can get on. I just so happened to miss the Pell program, which would help me with the education part of my incarceration. Since I've been here, I basically been working on myself. I did take the domestic violence class. I was given the opportunity of the domestic violence class after I applied for a halfway house, and then I was told that I was put on the list for domestic violence, and I had to continue to reapply after I completed the grounds of the domestic violence. I did take the domestic violence class. They gave me the opportunity to also see that violence isn't just a physical thing, and violence is part of other things as well. One of the biggest situations I would say with it is the control aspect of domestic violence. Feeling like you have any ability to control anybody else or in any direction. Basically, growing up, I did not have my father in my life, so me being a part of my children's life has been a very significant part of me. I have been a part of my kid's life on a lot of grounds. I also have hit brick walls when it comes to co-parenting with my kids, and basically violating orders and stuff. My violation of orders, as you can see, there's no physical violence in my past or in my present. Most of my situation is, as I said, if you read my police report and all that, it was stated by the police officer, asked by the police officer if she was in fear, and she stated no, she just wished me to leave. My situation is basically, I don't like to walk away from my children. Realizing that sometimes in the society that we live in, there's no control on that. There's always gonna be the one person who controls and another person who is just at the mercy of the control. And me, I try to be significant in my children's life. I have 3 kids' mothers out there. When it comes to an end, then I accept that it comes to an end. But when it comes to my children, I'll never be at an end when it comes to my children. So
But
most
there
of
are
my
there are other ways to resolve those kinds of situations.
Oh, no, I was getting to that. And basically the only way to resolve a situation like that is to go and have the courts take control and basically decide which way things go. My thing is, like I said, for instance, the situation, most of the situations that I deal with is a petty situation. It'll be a conflict of something that has to do with our child. Let's say, he don't go to school for the day, and I question why he don't go to school for the day, and then it turns into an argument and a heated argument, and it gets into more. And instead of me just walking away, I want to try to resolve it and understand why the possibility of it happened, why I feel that it's important for that to happen as well. So instead of me walking away, that was my biggest problem. As of right now, being in this situation, all you can really do is walk away from situations where you get yourself involved in other things that you don't want nothing to do with.
Well,
So
the
basically,
the reality for you is if you don't walk away, you end up getting arrested.
oh yeah,
Right?
But I mean,
But you know, and now you've got two protective orders. That one goes to 80, and the other one is lifetime, 99.
Oh, yeah. Who are those on?
I have two protective orders with the victim. I don't want to name her name.
LM is in place until 2099. Your protective order with AR is in place till 2080.
Yes, and it's my understanding that the protective order is not in effect at all. There's no protective order in effect when it comes to her. I'm explaining it to you. When I resolved everything, that was told that the protective order was not in effect. I'll get my transcripts on the grounds of when I go home and deal with that on the grounds that I have to. But as for AR, that just turned real bad. When it came to those are my first kids, and they're not kids no more, they're grown. My kids, they were 20, they're 22, yeah. 25 now. But I mean, there's no reason for me and her to have words. And as I said, I was released before and I had nothing to do with her, and I continued on. My release, go ahead.
I guess that was another case, that was another situation.
Yeah, that was a whole other situation.
Yeah.
And as I said, like I said, with this situation here, there is supposed to be no protective order in effect at all.
Okay, let me just tell you what we have, Mr. Williams, so that you can pursue this when you're back in the community so that you don't end up back on a violation of protective order. A partial protective order was put in place in September of 2020. In July of 2022, it became a full no contact protective order. And you indicated that she was seeking to modify that, but at your sentencing in 2024, there was no reference to changing the protective order. So our records and the registry indicate that that is still a full no contact protective order.
I will deal with that on my release, but like I said,
okay, but it is up to the victim to petition the court to modify the order, not you.
But that's what I'm trying to tell you. On my, like I said, on my sentencing, the judge looked at the prosecutor and asked about order in place, and she stated no. Like I said, it's all in my transcripts. Like that's what I'm trying to say. There's nothing I can do. I can sit here and talk to you about it, but it's not going to change nothing. Like I said, basically, I have to go home. I have to get the transcript.
We take care on the outside.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's an issue, I mean, right? That can be an issue. Now, you said that she didn't want this and didn't want you there. Correct?
No, she didn't want nothing to do with it. It was what was taking place that I had a lawyer at one time up until I want to say not even a month before I got sentencing, and then they switched up to another lawyer that wasn't familiar with anything, wasn't given the opportunity to become familiar with anything. And it's like I said, all this is stated in my transcripts. and it was put on the record so that I have what I need to have at the time. And when my sentencing did come up, it was stated about the sentencing as well, like I'm dealing with it. So I was given really limited opportunity to actually, it was do this or go upstairs and start trial, and that wasn't happening with a person that I only met a couple of weeks before. So, like I said, it's all in my transcripts, and I can't do nothing until I am released.
Well, I hope you do take care of that when you do finally get out.
Oh no, I
Just take care of it. Otherwise, we're going to see you back in here again if you don't take care of it. I'm going to tell you my challenge. My challenge is when you give me responses, I always get a sense of that you're not taking full responsibility for things, but that you're kind of laying it off on other things, either the system or the person was supposed to do this, or
His attorney.
or your attorney. I mean, there's always, I'm trying to figure that out because it's always somebody else versus you taking, you don't stand an opportunity because the system kind of is going to, controlling you, is controlling your situation. And I'm just, I have some concerns about that kind of response.
Okay, as I said, I understand what you're saying, but basically most of the stuff that you do know about me is part of what's been written and stuff. It's a reading material. As me as a person, you really don't know me. It's not like you reached out and talked to people that know me. It's not like you went and interviewed people and know me. When it comes to the situation of you saying that I am blaming I'm here on grounds of the situation that occurred. I could have handled another way, and I chose to handle it the way I handle it, and there was consequences of the situation. But throughout my time and everything that I've dealt with, you're not familiar with my environment that I dealt with. And I mean, I'm not saying the environment I grew up in, the environment meaning the situations I dealt with the police, that was part of this situation. You didn't deal with. I've walked through this whole thing, and on the grounds of me walking through this whole thing, the only way that I have any, how do I say it, any show for it is the fact that I was outspoken in the courtroom. So my transcripts read a lot more than just my paperwork does in this situation. As I said, sitting in front of you and saying I don't take accountability, I do take accountability, but at the same time, what happened to me isn't all about the situation that took place. There's more to it besides that. And the only way that I can prove that there's more to it besides that is the fact that I have to get out today, whenever y'all say, or 8 months, no matter which one comes. And then I'm able to go and prove the parts of me. As for what I said, I ran into a situation. I handled the situation incorrectly. Not everybody is able to communicate in a situation. Not everybody's on the same levels. Like, my situation sitting in front of you is different than your situation sitting in front of me, because you guys go through this with a lot of people that I don't go through this with a lot of people. You know what I mean? I don't sit in front of people and have to sell myself, and because I know what kind of person I am as a person. I also know that people make mistakes and situations occur, and not all situations go the way they're supposed to go, and not all the situations go bad or good. And there's situations that occur. I'm here. I mean, I didn't come in here acting a fool. I didn't come in here losing myself. I came in here and did all that I can do to do the same thing, which is build myself up and stick to the fact that I'm still a person. I'm not a bad person. You are trash. I'm still a person that basically, I won't give up on something that is mine, something that I feel that I
it's not a matter for me, it's not a matter of giving up. It's a matter of finding the appropriate way to handle the things that you have to handle. And you haven't been handling the things that in the way that were best for you or best for the individual that was on the other side of the whatever you were doing.
But as I said, I mean, when it comes to the situation, there's two people involved. I'm the individual who basically sitting in front of you. That's the bottom line when it comes down to it. Now, the other person, she's not here. She had nothing to do with it. She don't want nothing to do with it. But at the same time, when I go home, I'm still going to be a father. We're still going to have to deal with it. I'm not going to be able to just walk. I'm not going to walk away from the something that I gave life to.
And I understand all of that. I understand all that. My point is that I think you still need to find the skills that you need to have to be able to deal with those things in a way that doesn't put you back in prison.
Oh, and I understand that.
But that's what I'm trying to share with you. That for me, you haven't taken the significant kind of programming that will help you. You haven't taken an anger management course, have you?
Mr. Tate is not getting parole because of anger issues.
Oh, no, I wasn't.
So, you know, there's something that might be helpful because you seem to have at some point some issue with that, with, you know, controlling your anger. You don't see it that way?
And actually,
you got all these prior protective orders, the threatening. You don't see it as part of your.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You can respond.
As I said, the protective orders, the violation of protective orders is, like I said, when I've been in many relationships, I've had relationships, and you don't see my history of any relationships. What you see is an individual who have children with a person. And as I have children with a person, I earned that. You are trash. I brought that child into the world.
But while you're sitting there in prison, Mr. Williams, the mother is raising that child and is worthy of your respect for doing that, for doing the parenting that you're not there to do. When the police made contact with you, were you not in possession of the lug nuts and the handle to the jack of the car?
The police did not come in contact with me. What they did is they went to my house and took a picture of a car that had the lug nuts and the jack in it. And as I said, yes, I did take it. And I took something that I purchased.
That was yours.
I
mean, you took something you said was yours.
Out of spite.
I was attempting to take something that was mine. However, it was put on a vehicle, and out of, like I said, I reacted in a negative way by doing such a thing. My thing with that is, if you do something for somebody, you just walk away and leave it alone. I mean, that's basically it when it comes to that.
You know, Mr. Williams, I really want to try to, you know, figure out a way to help you, but I'm just having a difficult time with it right now.
Understandable.
You know, I'm trying to find a way to help you to figure out, you know, how you get this programming that might be more beneficial for you for when you go out on the outside and gives you the skill sets that you need to be able to deal with some of these situations a little bit differently. You know, but yeah, I don't seem to be getting to that point with you. So right now, I'm going to stop asking you any questions. I'm going to allow my colleagues to ask you some questions, and we'll go from there. And I wish you the best of luck, though. I really do. I think that, you know, on some level, you do want to do what's right, but I don't think you're moving in the right direction at this particular point. And you've got, you know, also 4 years of probation after this. So you're going to have to be dealing with the system for an additional 4 years, even when you do get out.
I had no problem doing it any other time that I had it. Appreciate your time.
All right. Listen, thank you so much for talking with me.
Panel member Barry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, Mr. Williams, I'm just curious to know how many children's mother, how many baby moms, as you guys call it? How many
I apologize. I have children with 3 women out there. You are trash. I have older
3
children.
women and how many children?
Oh, I have 5 children. I have kids right now. I only have 2 kids right now under the age of 18. I have a 13-year-old and a 12-year-old.
Okay, 12-year-old and a 13-year-old. And is that with the current victim?
Yeah, I have one with her and one with another woman.
Okay, and how long did you know the one with her? I don't know.
How long
How long did you know her?
Know her?
Yes, how long were you were you with her?
I knew her for a little while, and then
You got
it was,
pregnant?
it was an agreement. I mean, we were friends, and then it expanded upwards, and then she got pregnant, I'd say maybe 6 months later, six
Okay,
months.
so how long before she got pregnant?
Did I know her
Yes.
without her messing with her? I would say maybe 2 years, a year.
And how about the second one?
The second one,
Yep.
we weren't really in a relationship like that. I
See, this
basically,
is
I
where the
knew her.
problem lies, Mr.
No.
Williams. This is
What
where
happened?
the problem, I said, this is where the problem lies. You lay down with people that you really don't know, and
Oh,
you
no.
create life, and then it's hard to, you got to deal with these people for the rest of your life, and you don't know them.
Oh, well, like I said, understandable. The son you're talking about right now, the girl, I actually had custody of my son at one time. I had custody of my son for
But
3.5.
that's not my issue. My issue is it's so difficult for you to parent with people because you don't know them. If you would have known that this lady was the way that she is, would you have pursued a relationship with her?
No, actually, I apologize to laugh, but no, I mean, I stated that to Smiley as well. I mean, I did state that to her. We choose.
It's the choices that we make. It's the choices that you make that put you in this situation. Because if you would have probably waited another year or so, you would have seen true colors. But when you meet someone, you know, the sex is good, you feel good about because it's so new.
Oh, no, that's not about me. I apologize, but no, my biggest thing was my children.
But you don't
that's what I
have
went
children
for.
if you didn't have all of that stuff before. You wouldn't
Excuse
just
me?
have, I said you wouldn't have children if you weren't in that before stage, the stage where things are good and she's so pretty and, you know, sex is regular. And that's how you get children with people that you don't know, is all that I'm saying. And had you been more precautious, I'll say, about who you conceive with, your life wouldn't be so difficult. That's the long story short that I'm trying to get at with you. But let's move forward just a second. And so how do you think the interview went with Officer Smelly?
Oh, I mean, I guess I overthink things. So when she asked me questions, I basically was overthinking them and getting more in depth. I didn't realize that it needed to be a certain way. And how do I feel that it went? I feel that on my grounds, I was just trying to be open as I can.
Do you think you were rude to her at any point, in any way, or disrespectful?
Oh, I mean, if she took it as that way, I can't say how a person takes something.
Asking you,
but I don't feel that I feel that when questions were asked to me and I was attempting to answer them to the best of my knowledge and understanding, that I was basically corrected. And at that time there was bumping of heads, I guess you could say, or the rudeness there. As for me, I mean, I was just trying to be as open as I can. And when it comes to me being as open as I can, it takes me a minute to sit back, think, and then start the question. I mean, to answer the questions. If she took, like I said, it was an interview.
It's not about how she took it. You just admitted though that you guys bumped heads. So that can be uncomfortable because if a difference of opinion will lead to that. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, at the end of the day, we're all here trying to do our jobs. And none of us know you, sir, because if any of us did know you, we wouldn't be able to do our jobs. That's not our role. We don't get to sit down with people and get to know them, because if I do know you, people do come and sit in that chair that I do know.
Today's video is sponsored by Aura. Did you know companies can take months to report a data breach? On average, it's 277 days before you even find out that your personal data has been exposed. Think about that, 277 days. That means that your sensitive information, like your email, your phone number, even your financial details, can already be out there. Now, it's not just one company, but major banks and corporations, they've all experienced breaches in the past year. Maybe you've seen about it in the news. Your information could be compromised right now and you wouldn't even know it. Now, that's why I use Aura. Aura scans the dark web and alerts me fast if personal information has been leaked. If someone tries to open a bank account or credit card in my name, I'll know right away. I have been using Aura for about maybe 9 months now. Something that they also do that really helps me a lot is keep spam callers away. That's a big bonus for me. They actually remove my name from those spam caller lists. Now, they also provide up to $5 million in identity theft insurance and a full suite of tools to keep you protected. And this is all, it's all done in one app. You can try Aura for free for 14 days at aura.com/Mandoo. And that's 2 weeks to find out if your data has already been exposed before you hear from a company months later. So why wait? Get some peace of mind and try out Aura for free. Take control of your digital security right now. And now let's go back to the hearing.
That I have had interactions with, because I grew up in New Haven. You know, I know people. And when I do, I have to recuse myself from the case because I can't sit on it. My job prohibits that. So they want people who do not know the individuals that we're coming across so that we can look through the file and make sure, just from an outside eye looking in, is this person suitable? Not, oh my God, I love him so much. He's so sweet. He's so kind. That's not our job. Our job is to look at what we have in front of us. And this is your resume. This is it. This is all we have. We won't, no, we don't go and ask people your personality. No, we don't go and talk to your loved ones and see what kind of input or influence you've had on them. No, we don't do that. That's not our job. Our job is to look at what we have and make a decision based on what we have in our discussion with you. And I have one last thing.
No parole for Tate.
And I appreciate your letting me talk, Mr. Williams. I really do. I forgot what the last thing was. Oh my gosh.
Our jobs.
Huh?
You were talking about our jobs, not know him.
Oh, it was something else after. My mind is always all over the place. So, you know, I really do hope, I can appreciate, just so that you know, your desire to be there for your children. That's admirable. There are a lot of men who step away from that without it even a look back. So I appreciate it. You seem fairly intelligent. So I'm just hoping that you utilize intelligence to pursue things in a different way. That's it. Okay, is the court system or the criminal justice system always going to play out in your favor? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You have lots of strikes against you. One could be the color of your skin. The two could be that you're an ex-felon, or that you're currently incarcerated. There's so many things that not even your behavior can determine whether or not the strikes are against you. Just being who you are. So you have to figure out a way to navigate life with those challenges, yes. Because otherwise, like Mr. Rodriguez said, you're going to be right back here in prison. And that's not our desire for you. We want you to be home with your kids. We want you to be a good father to them. People need their fathers in their lives. They do. But you have to go about it in a different way. That's it. That's it. Thank you. Do you want to respond or?
No, like I said, I apologize to her if she took it in any way that I was being rude or disrespectful. My truth is, like, I mean, I can sit here and go into the situations as I recall them as well. And like I said, I mean, I answered what I had to answer to the best of my ability. Sometimes my answers were to the point or as expected of me. And with that, that's where I was with that. I mean, basically the situation dragged out longer. That was one. We were already dealing with situations in here. That was two. And right from the beginning of me reading the thing, there was already bumping. As I said, I'm a piece of paper in front of you, and I wasn't. How did the interview go? So the interview was given by an individual. That person put the notes in the interview, and that's how you see, and that's what caused you to ask me that question. So as I said, I didn't take it as me being rude. I didn't take it as I feel that she was just there. She was to do what she was to do, and I wasn't the typical individual that I would say had the answers and studied for the test because I wasn't prepared. I was just brainstorming my brain to come up with the solution of what she asked me and giving her the walkthrough of the situations.
No. Well, when you apologize for something, Mr. Williams, I want you to practice this. You just say, my apology, and leave it at that. Seriously, yeah. Because it's almost like whatever you say after that but negates everything you just said.
I don't understand how you say that. All right, I understand. I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
You are trash.
This is what I wanted to ask. I remember now. Thank you. So when they called you when you were at religious services, you said, tell us what happened again. That you went down. You didn't know what time it was going to be, but you knew it was today, right?
Yes, I was told it was today. I have the paper as I talked to Miss Smiley.
Right. Okay. So you knew it was today. So you went down to religious services, and they said they called you over the loudspeaker or whatever. I don't know.
No loudspeakers. We're outside doing the sweat lodge at this time. A sweat lodge consists of being outside. We start a fire. On the fire, we gotta let the rocks heat up. So that takes a little time. So and after that, then we present ourselves. We go into the built structure. We bring in the rocks. We steam ourselves. We cleanse ourselves basically.
So did they interrupt you in all of that and say it's time for your hearing?
No. What happened was they called the tower. The tower communicated that they needed me to come inside. There is only one individual outside with us. It's the chaplain. The chaplain cannot leave the other inmates in the situation. So at that time, the chaplain explained to them that they would have to send somebody out to get me. At that time, we had a long time before that, at least almost 45 minutes before I even entered the sweat lodge or anything like that. So at the time, when it came time, I entered the sweat lodge on the grounds that maybe I was going to be the last one and it was going to take place after. I went through, there's 4 sessions of it.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to figure out, I appreciate what you're telling me. So it wasn't like they called you and you were just like, I'm in my religious thing and I'm ignoring what you're saying. So you're saying that there was no one there. There was not a person there to escort you up to the hearing room.
No, the person came to escort me up to the hearing about when I came in here, we'll say 30 minutes before I came in here, a person was at the gates. I exited out. We exited out on our, because we're going for 4 trips, for 4 of them. I already went through 2. On the grounds, we were opening it up. There was a guy at the gate. That's when they said, and that's the first time the escort came out.
And so you went with them?
Yeah, it was done. Okay. I brought myself in.
All right. Thank you, sir. Sorry.
That's all right. Mr. Williams, how many times a month is there a sweat lodge?
We have them once a month, but we haven't had one in, let me see, 3 months, probably 3 months. So this was the first one. It was supposed to be yesterday that it was supposed to happen. They canceled it for whatever reason, and they did it today. It started early this morning, 9 o'clock. And as I said, I did look on the paperwork that Ms. Smiley gave me.
Okay, all right.
Okay, go ahead.
It's just, have you ever taken a fatherhood program?
Yes, I did. When I first came home, in 2009, I did
Okay,
take
so out in
one.
the community, not there in the
Yes.
facility?
No, in the community. I don't think they offer one in this, in this
Yes, they
facility.
do. Yes, they do. Forever dads, 24/7 dads, fatherhood, parenting. And I'm mentioning that because one of the key components of those programs is that it helps you build your skills to effectively co-parent. And that's clearly, part of the problem, as you've explained to us quite a bit today, where the conflict comes in with you is over parenting. So I would encourage you to take a fatherhood program, get some skills and some tools to help you effectively co-parent and communicate, because, your discussion with us today about walking away doesn't help get the situation resolved, where you can actually hear one another and she can explain to you why he didn't go to school that day. But most importantly in the program is they talk about, the emotional caretaking of your child that's done through respect of the co-parent. And, you really do a lot of damage, or anyone does a lot of damage to a child when they disrespect the custodial parent. Because that person represents stability to the child out in the world and safety. And when you come in and you argue and you disrespect, it does damage to the child psychologically, that you're targeting their safe person in the world. And you need to appreciate that fully in terms of, your children being your priority. Well, part of it is you have a responsibility to their mental health in how you treat their mothers. So something to think about. Because one of my takeaways from today is that you like to argue. You like to be heard. We all like to be heard. But their communication styles, and arguing is one of the least effective. So we're done with the questions at this point, Mr. Williams. So if you'll give us just a few minutes, we'll have a decision for you. Please don't interrupt. So, Mr. Rodriguez, you began.
Thank you.
What are your thoughts?
I would like to help Mr. Williams. I think he makes it kind of difficult to do that. I can't get through his minimizing some of the things and his, continual, I don't think he's just gotten the insight about himself in terms of how he handles situations. He talked a lot about the transcripts. When I read the transcripts, I remember reading a part where he was by the victim, labeled that he gets hot-headed. But that to me tells me that there's some issues there. It's not the first time it comes up. Also, this isn't the first time he's taken DV. He's taken domestic violence before. What happened that, he couldn't integrate what he learned then with now. So I'm having challenges with that. I really would like to try to help him. I see that he wants to try to be a good father. I think your suggestion of a fatherhood program was very appropriate at this point, to not only help him with his kids, but to help him figure out how he gets along with the women in those kids' lives, which is very impactful, as you well pointed out. At this moment, I'm a denial. I would like to hear from my colleagues and hear what they have to say, but I think I'd like to see him take maybe an anger management course if he can before he gets out, which is only 8 months away from now, or a fatherhood program that would help him kind of at least get set up on the outside when he goes back outside to deal with his kids and with his situation with these women, because he still has these protective orders that are out there. And I'm just concerned that he's not there yet. And that's not to say that I don't think he's making some progress and doing some things that are positive, but that's kind of where I'm at. So I want to hear from my two colleagues and see if there's anything that you see that's different, because at this point, I'm in denial.
Panel member Barry.
Thank you. I just think honestly that Mr. Williams is passionate. I'll call it that. you know, he loves his children, and it's not understanding that he really wants to be a part of their lives, regardless of whether or not it costs his freedom. The problem is that that's the problem. You know, he has to figure out a different way to do it. And I'm glad that he's taking the programs. The tickets I do not like. And the nature of his crime, I do not. But I do understand his position. And he was a halfway house approved already, so he is going out. Excuse me, regardless of our situation today. But based on his criminal history and the fact that he rates out high, I could not support discretionary for that.
I have concerns with Mr. Williams' ability to regulate his own emotions, coming inside the facility and getting a threatening DR for how he addressed a correctional officer. And that's somebody with a position of authority as opposed to his partner or the parent of his children. You know, a lot of what we see on paper from Mr. Williams, we're used to seeing with people who are in their 20s and 30s. And here he is, 50, his criminal history dating back to 1997, and he does have threatening. The first conviction for that was in 2000, and then he's gone on with other protective order violations, which shows us he doesn't respect the authority of the court. We have confirmed that the protective orders in place are active and full. And, you know, not having a victim participate in the hearing today, that outreach was done. And that could be indicative of a lot of things, not necessarily that, because we often have victims who come and support the offender and their release. And so that could have very easily have been the case today, but it wasn't. Like you said, DOC approved him for halfway house last month. And so I think we should just leave that plan in place. So the reasons for denial today being criminal history, nature and circumstance, and I also have poor institutional adjustment.
Over fine.
Okay. That's fine.
All right, Mr. Williams. In the matter of Raymond Williams, inmate number 334451, there is a motion to deny parole for the following reasons: your criminal history, the nature and circumstances of your current offenses, and your poor institutional adjustment. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. So the motion carries unanimously. Mr. Williams, you've not been granted parole, but you are already halfway house approved by DOC, so we wish you much luck. And I hope you'll continue to do some work on yourself, for yourself and your children, and we wish you all the best.
This concludes the hearing for Raymond Williams. 334451 in conclusion.
No parole for Tate. None. Mr. Tate is not getting parole
because of anger issues. What a more befitting time than to bring out the No Parole for Tate merch. You asked for it, we have it. I'll put a link up here. You want to join the No Parole for Tate Club? How do I put this hat on? It's actually nice material. But I mean, come on, what a hearing, right? This guy, I don't know what it was, but it was who was it? It was Terry, Berry, and Rodriguez, and a Turner. And I think it was Turner that was saying, you know, you're intelligent, you're a smart guy. I can see that you're, and I didn't see any of that. I didn't see any intelligence. They were like kept trying to just get through him the most simple, basic point, which was, wait, if you don't rush into a relationship, maybe you won't have a child with someone who you're not compatible with. And he's like, yeah, but I have children with them. And they're like, no. See, you have children with them because you. But what if you see if we have this concept of getting to know someone, then you would know whether you're compatible to have children with them. He's like, yeah, but I have children with them. what they had to explain it like 3 times. He still didn't get it. And then you know what they were getting at? I'm happy they brought this up. Keep in mind, this was the final hearing of the day. So he was earlier on in the docket. He's not showing up. They're trying to get him. He's not showing up. He's the last hearing of the day. They closed up after him, and they're trying to get it like. So you weren't able to come. You're in this. Apparently, it's like a sauna thing. I don't know, like a heating lodge. I guess they call it a religious thing, which means they all have a right to go and make a sauna. It's who knows what's going on in these DOCs. And and they're just coming down to he's oh well, I didn't know, they didn't get me, it's their fault, it's the DOC's fault. And I think what the parole board is trying to get at is, imagine if you had your parole hearing, your parole hearing is scheduled, you're not going to go in the sauna, you're not going to take the chance that you're going to miss, this is a big day, this is exciting to you, this is important to you, you're not going to do it, you're going to wait at your cell for them to call. And I'm going to take the hat off. It's bothering me. I'm not a hat guy. I've never really been a hat guy. And he didn't do that. He instead goes and does what he wants to do. And I think that just says a lot, doesn't it? And he comes in with an attitude. He comes in literally like, oh, you guys made up your mind already. Oh, you guys. And it's like, this is him on his best behavior. This is a man on his best behavior, trying to get out early, and he's literally just like this attitude, this smugness. It was just nauseating. I don't know why the board gave him any credit at all. I didn't see anything there. I didn't. It was strange, like victim blaming, denial about the restraining orders. I love that they brought up the fact that no one showed up. The woman didn't show up on his behalf. They could have, and then he has the fight, at this age, even, and they brought up with the CO. Let's see what Lady Holly has on this case. Also, when a judge gives the type of sentence that he received, it's bad. You really do, because you don't see it that bad, this often. I hated that you have a lot of things going against you, and they bring up, oh, come on, whatever. It's like his attitude is what's doing it, and the idea that he keeps violating protective orders. Controlling offense, 9/30/2024 is when he sentenced, 3 years. Maximum release date, October 24th, 2025. Special parole end. Oh, I don't know what that is, right? Okay, so he has an offense date on 7/10/2016, which is burglary 3rd degree. And he's sentenced to 5 years jail, but suspended. So he gets a felony. He doesn't get prison time here. He has one for 12/9/2021. And one might think that maybe the burglary 3rd degree has something to do with going into a loved one's house. That's just a guess. I don't know. He has arrested, offense date of 9/12/2020. Another burglary 1st degree with bodily injury. He's sentenced to 8 years jail, but suspended after 3, probation 4. That must be this current offense. Count 2, violation of a protective order, 8 years jail, suspended after 3. And then this one, violation of protective order, 3rd degree, burglary, 3rd degree, assault, interfering with an officer, criminal mischief, disorderly conduct. So, I don't know. I don't know if I was just sharing my screen with you or not. But thank you, Holly, for bringing that info. It's you see bodily injury, you see assault in there. These things are dangerous. I just don't buy it. But it's like in his mind, he thinks he's the victim. In his mind, he's saying that he's being held away from his kids. This is what it was. The parole board was kind of like taking his side in that sense. They're like, well, maybe it is true. Maybe you are a great dad. Maybe it's their fault. You should get to know them. But it's like, well, if you're dating 3 women and you have kids with 3, and all 3 of them don't want you to be around them, maybe you're the problem. just a thought, some food for thought. I don't know. I probably would have handled it that way if I was the parole board, but it's hard. It's hard to like this man. I think it's in my opinion scary. I think poster child for narcissistic. If I had to just make a guess, you know, I'm not diagnosing anyone. I'm only speculating on a situation like this, but it is worth a laugh. I think it's a great. I think it's just a classic. It's a classic man-child situation here, and that's what we got. So we got what we expected, and with that, I'll let you go.
If you would have known that this lady was the way that she is, would you have pursued a relationship with her?
No, actually, I apologize to laugh, but no, I mean, I stated that to Smiley as well. I mean, I did state that to her. We choose.
It's the choices that we make. It's the choices that you make that put you in this situation. Because if you would have probably waited another year or so, you would have seen true colors. But when you meet someone, you know, the sex is good, you feel good about because it's so new.
Oh no, that's not about me. I apologize, but no, my biggest thing was my children.
But you don't have children if you didn't have all of that stuff before. You wouldn't just have. I said you wouldn't have children if you weren't in that euphoric stage, the stage where things are good and she's so pretty and you know sex is regular, and that's how you get children with people that you don't know, is all that I'm saying. And had you been more precautious, I'll say, about who you conceive with, your life wouldn't be so difficult.